All propaganda.
So I will get into a little bit of the staff report today and the contract for phase 2. So the report and the resolution is in front of you, members of the Public Safety Committee. I just want to talk briefly about the selection process after our experience with phase 1 and the feedback we got from the community. We went through some extra steps as far as the selection process is concerned. So what we did is we took sort of like a multi-pronged strategy and approach, and we not only did the Google search and work with the tools, of course we have available, but in addition to that also we went to some of the sites where these sort of companies are listed, and we also talked to their existing customers, and we checked their work and their performance. The phase 2 scope of work is about really the three major things. One is the integration, which Mr. O'Brien talked about in phase 2 work. And if you look at that phase 2 work, a lot of that work is related to linking some of the public websites like WOC and NOAA and the other public feeds. The second piece of work in this effort in the phase 2 is the integration of the standard operating procedures. We presented the SOP and the whole idea about integrating the technology into the operations of the first responders is so critical that we will have this information available so that the response time can be lower. So that needs to be developed, that needs to be done, that needs to be implemented into the system. The third aspect is the maintenance and support. So once we are done with all these three things in developing the scope of work, the next step is going to be making sure that the contract compliance staff is okay with the contracts and going back to the city attorney's office to get their approval on the contract, the terms and conditions. So those are some of the pending tasks. Once we get the approval from the council to enter into the negotiations with Schneider Electric, we're going to proceed. As far as the performance timeline is concerned, the deadline we have is May 31st, 2014 to complete the phase 2 work and spend this grant money.
So you can stand here today and say you've done all the background check on Schneider Electric. We have a very, very, clear policy in terms of nuclear weapon involvement and so forth. So are you saying that our staff, city staff, has done the background work on Schneider Electric and it does not violate our policy?
Specific to the I'm sorry, specific to the nuclear free zone ordinance, due diligence and the approval. So I guess maybe I would ask our contract compliance staff to come forward and maybe we can talk about a little bit more in detail about the process and what they have done. But at the time, so it's a self-declaration process. It's pretty much submitted by the vendors. So based on their submission, based on the information provided, the staff goes on and they do their due diligence. So at the time when we did the due diligence, when we did the research and looked at the company, look at all the different indices, we found that the company has not been involved in the nuclear weapon work. However, based on the further research and the feedback we got from the community, we engaged Schneider into further answering. So where we are right now is all those questions we have received, the feedback we have received from some of the community members, we have shared that information, and Schneider has requested that we provide that information to them in writing, and they will respond back to us in writing.
That you would provide that information in writing
To Schneider.
and then they will respond back in writing to you.
Yes.
And at that point, you determine whether they violated our policy or not.
That's right.
And at that time, so what? I guess I'm trying to be clear here. So I think that from what I'm getting from you is we're not clear if they violate our nuclear weapons.
So you can't recommend this?
I just want to be clear.
So just to clarify, staff did do the extra due diligence that may have identified things that were then subsequently identified by other members of the public. But to be clear, there's a complication here in terms of Schneider Electric itself. There is a global entity that is called Schneider. And under Schneider's a global entity, there are wholly owned subsidiaries of which the Schneider is bidding on this particular project is in the Americas, and it has a different name. The issue here is that the global entity, and some of the things that have been brought up by members of the public, as we've brought those to the attention of Schneider, may relate to those other entities that are owned by the global entity versus the entity that we're going to enter into
Are
contract.
you fucking
Same
serious?
thing, same thing.
So what we're doing is asking for responses from Schneider on the very specific issues that were raised, which is, they were raised this week, we need to afford them an opportunity to respond.
Okay, well, let me hear from the public, and we'll be able to respond to the public.
So you call the
Right here.
speakers. Mr. Chair,
Orange.
Yes,
there's one more slide, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry.
one more slide, go ahead and then we'll take the speakers. Right.
Yeah, this is the final slide. Basically, if council was to approve, the Public Safety Committee and council was to approve to move into the phase 2, the next phases or next steps could be phase 2 would kick off in February. We would hope to have a media visual demonstration available for the public, media, and council in spring. We are going to be issuing, as was stated earlier, the privacy policy for public review, comments, and edits. That'll be happening in February, and it would run through a 30-day period through March, through late March. Then we would return to public safety and city council on that privacy policy. In late March, early April, we would have a staffing plan study, the Domain Awareness Center, O&M, and options to city council to accept grant funding for DAC staffing in April of 2014. EOC DAC Phase 2 would be completed, and there is estimated to go live in July 2014. And then there would be informational reports to public safety, city council regarding DAC operations and next steps on a regular basis.
Thank you, public speakers.